The exchange student from Earth. Eli Calder wasn't sure if the 10-foot-tall bronze statue glaring down at him was meant to be a welcome or a warning. Its many eyes, 6 to be exact, gleamed with faint gold light as it stood sentinel at the gates of House Vynn, one of the highest noble estates on the Zalari homeworld, Varellus Prime. Behind it, crystalline towers arched skyward, humming with gentle energy. Everything shimmered, sparkled, and pulsed with quiet power, like the whole planet had been dipped in elegance and frozen mid-breath. Eli scratched the back of his neck. "No pressure," he muttered. He was Earth's first cultural envoy to the Zalari Empire, part of a shaky but promising exchange program. Out of hundreds of applicants, he'd won the spot, mostly because he was adaptable, had no known allergies to alien flora, and could recite basic Zalari etiquette without vomiting from nerves. The moment he stepped inside the Vynn estate, he knew he was in a different universe. The halls echoed with a faint melody, like wind chimes singing ancient hymns. Transparent walls shifted color as he walked past, responding to his biosignature. The staff, tall, sleek beings in flowing robes, bowed with controlled grace. Then came Lady Coralith Vynn, daughter of the High Strategos, and his temporary host. She strode into the chamber, wearing an expression of mild interest, her silver-flecked eyes examining him like a new museum piece. Her dark blue robe shimmered, her posture perfect. She was tall, even for a Zalari, slender and composed, with a face that belonged on a marble coin. "So," she said, voice smooth but bored, "you're the Terran." Eli grinned. "And you're taller than advertised." Her upper left eyebrow twitched. Then she laughed, sharp, unexpected. Perhaps this won't be entirely tedious after all. Over the next few days, Eli learned that Coralith wasn't just nobility. She was brilliant, rebellious, and surprisingly curious about Earth culture. She grilled him on music, history, and why humans found jumping into snow a recreational activity. They developed a rhythm. She teased, he deflected, and between their differences, something like friendship began to grow. One evening, Coralith decided to give him a tour of the family relic chamber, a forbidden, ceremonial space where only Vynn blood was permitted. "That sounds like a trap," Eli said as the chamber doors hissed open. She grinned. "It is. But don't worry, I won't tell if you won't." Inside, the air was colder, reverent. Rows of glowing relics lined the walls. Crystal weapons, old war medals, and artifacts that hummed with latent energy. But at the far end stood a suit of armor unlike anything Eli had seen. Tall as a grown man, it shimmered with layered plating that looked part metal, part organic. The pauldrons bore symbols that shimmered and shifted in real time. It was beautiful and intimidating. Coralith approached it with a smirk. "The armor of Mycor Vallis. My ancestor wore this during the Machine Purge War. Legend says it bonded with him. That it's alive. Blah, blah, blah." She turned back to Eli, mischief in her eyes. "Want to try it on?" He blinked. "Seriously? Why not?" "It won't react. It only responds to Vynn blood. You'll look ridiculous." He shrugged, stepping toward it. "Well, I live to disappoint." The moment his fingers touched the chest plate, the room trembled. The armor flared with light, deep blue and gold. The plating peeled open like a blooming flower and pulled him in. Before Coralith could stop him, it sealed shut. Eli gasped. He was floating, not just in the air, but through memory. Images raced past, starships ablaze, legions of machines, a warrior's cry. Voices echoed. Purpose. Inheritor. Chosen. A voice, mechanical but ancient, spoke in his mind. Neural lattice confirmed. Biosignature viable. Heir of adaptation accepted. The floor cracked as Eli landed. The armor reformed around him, sleeker, made to fit him now. Energy danced across his fingers. Coralith stood frozen, stunned. "That's impossible." He looked at her, eyes glowing faint gold beneath the helmet. "Well, it fits." And then the alarms began to scream. The awakening of Mycor's heir. Crimson warning glyphs bloomed across the vault walls like blooming fire. Spinning symbols Eli couldn't read, but instinctively understood. Unauthorized activation. Anomaly detected. Containment breached. Karilith moved first. Her voice trembled as she activated her comm band. Shut it down. Contain the vault. Lockdown protocol now. No response. The system didn't recognize her command. Instead, the chamber's guardian constructs, once dormant statues, stirred to life. 3 massive sentinels turned toward them, glowing eyes fixed on the armored figure in the center, on Eli. "Oh hell," Eli muttered, the armor's voice whispering guidance in his mind. "Do not flee. Do not fight. Prove alignment." Karilith grabbed his arm. "We have to go. They'll kill you. The armor wasn't supposed to choose you." "I didn't choose anything," he snapped, but the armor responded to his rising panic with calm, defense withheld. Identification in process. The construct slowed. One knelt. Karilith froze. "What?" The tallest sentinel, carved with ancient battle scars and plated in ceremonial obsidian, projected a holographic banner. In the Zalari High Tongue, it read, "Recognition granted. Heir to Mycor Valis. Inheritor of the Living Forge." The armor pulsed at Eli's chest, as if agreeing. Karilith stepped back in disbelief. "That's impossible. The Living Forge can't bond with anyone outside the bloodline. It was coded for purity." Eli raised a hand, inspecting the glow that danced across his gauntlet. "Maybe your ancestor wasn't as picky as you thought." She didn't laugh this time. She just turned away, breathing hard. "They'll come for you now. The Imperial Inquisition. The High Blood Council. The moment they find out, they'll say you corrupted the relic, or worse, that it chose you because our bloodline is weakening." "And is it?" She looked at him, 4 eyes full of fear and something else. "I don't know. But if we don't get you out of here, you won't live long enough to find out." They fled the vault as its doors slammed shut behind them, sealing the past inside. Outside, the estate was in chaos. Staff scrambled. Sky patrols crisscrossed overhead, and the VYNN family crest now pulsed with an emergency override glyph. Every sensor was tracking him. Karilith led Eli down a marble corridor and into a glass-walled hangar. Her private skimmer, a sleek, angular craft in midnight silver, hissed open. "You know how to fly that?" Eli asked, half joking. She shot him a look. "Do you know how to remove ancient Zalari war armor?" "Get in." They soared into the Varela's twilight, the ground falling away beneath them. The skimmer dipped low, weaving through canyons of crystal and rock as alert drones began to pursue. Inside, Eli sat tense, feeling the armor shift slightly, as if reacting to motion. It wasn't just protective, it was alive, thinking. He could feel it cataloging threats, scanning energy signatures, syncing with Karilith's controls. "It's talking to me," he muttered. "What's it saying? That I'm not supposed to be here, but it's adapting. And something about neural synchronization. And wait, memory access." Suddenly his mind flooded with images. He saw the galaxy burning. Legions of machines, fluid, insect-like, descending from space. A warrior in the same armor, shouting into the void. An explosion. Then darkness. He gasped. "It's showing me the past." Karilith nodded grimly. The Purge War. The machines were built by Zalari thinkers, until they decided the galaxy didn't need their creators anymore. Mycor led the fight to shut them down. "I saw him die," Eli whispered. Alone, Karilith slowed the skimmer behind a cloaked ridge. They say his soul was absorbed by the armor's core, so it could live on until another was worthy. "And now it thinks I'm that person? Or maybe," she said quietly, "it thinks the Zalari aren't worthy anymore." They sat in silence. Then the armor's voice returned in Eli's mind. "Ancient directive detected. Planet killer network stirring. Signal of awakening broadcast. Access required. Celestial beacon." He translated aloud. Karilith went pale. "The beacon still exists?" she whispered. "It was a myth. Not to this thing." Eli looked down at the glowing armor, then at her. "Karilith, I think something's waking up out there. And I think your joke just made me responsible for it. Empire's secrets and Earth's threat." The hidden scholar lived in the shadow of the Obsidian Fault, a rift in the crust of Varela's Prime, where tectonic plates pulsed with slow, glowing magma. Few Zalari dared enter. It was said to be haunted by memories and banished truths. Eli wasn't sure if that meant ghosts or just bad history, but the suit didn't care. It guided them in silence, subtly nudging Kari Lith's skimmer through thermal vents and optical scramblers. It was leading them to someone. That someone stood on a cliff of black stone, robes fluttering in the updraft. He looked like a monk, but his face was covered in mechanical implants, and one of his eyes glowed the same color as the armor now fused to Eli's body. He smiled as they approached. "Ah," he said softly. "The living forge has chosen again." Kari Lith stiffened. "Sorrow Thane, you're supposed to be dead." "I am," he replied. "To the Empire, at least. But the truth rarely dies. It only hides until it's needed." Eli stepped forward. "Then tell me the truth." Thane led them into a deep stone chamber, lined with holograms, forgotten glyphs, and cracked datapads. There, under the flickering light of long-dead stars, he told them everything. The armor, Mykor's relic, was not forged solely by the Zalari, but by an ancient alliance of 10, a coalition of species who believed that strength must be tempered by evolution. The armor wasn't just a weapon, it was a test, a living forge that evaluated not just biology, but potential. The Zalari passed once, but over generations, obsessed with purity and status, they slowly drifted from adaptability to stagnation. When the machines rose in rebellion, the armor activated only once for Mykor, and when he fell, it went dormant, waiting for a successor. But, Thane added, the living forge doesn't judge by blood. It judges by response. You, human, are the first spark of something new. Kari Lith spoke carefully. If the High Council finds out, they'll silence him. And me. They already know, Thane said, gesturing to a nearby display. A hologram flickered to life. Imperial alert signals, live images of Eli in the armor, flashing across military networks. They've labeled you a threat. They're spinning it as a Terran infiltration of sacred relics. Earth's diplomats have been silenced. Your own species doesn't even know the truth yet. Eli stared at the image. They're going to think I stole it. They're going to think you're dangerous, Thane corrected. And they're not wrong. You are. Just not to them. Not yet. Kari Lith turned to Eli. The beacon. That's where the armor says to go. It's the key, right? Thane nodded. It's a failsafe buried in the orbital ring. Only the Forge's heir can activate it. It can awaken or shut down. The sentient swarm, the ancient AI that once tried to cleanse the galaxy. The Zalari sealed it in quantum hibernation. But now, with the armor active, Eli felt the truth solidify inside him. It's waking up. As if on cue, the armor's voice whispered inside his head. Swarm latency breached. Nodes activating in sectors 12 through 17. 3.4 days until full emergence. He spoke aloud. Kari Lith blanched. They'll hit Earth first. It's unshielded. It's new tech. They'll see it as an infestation. Thane's voice dropped. Then you must reach the beacon and unlock the Forge's full command. Only then can the swarm be neutralized. Suddenly, an explosion rocked the chamber. Dust rained down. From above, a thin slicing beam of violet energy carved a hole through the ceiling. Kari Lith pulled Eli behind cover. Void Hunters, elite Inquisition assassins. They tracked us. Dark figures dropped through the dust, armored, faceless, moving like shadows with blades of pure light. Eli turned to run, but the armor didn't. It surged forward, dragging his body with speed and confidence he didn't possess. His hands moved faster than thought, deflecting strikes, redirecting force. One assassin lunged. He caught the blade with a glowing palm and unleashed a kinetic pulse that shattered their armor like glass. Kari Lith ducked as rubble fell. What was that? Eli's voice was shaky. I think it used my adrenaline. Converted it. The armor spoke. Sympathetic combat sync established. Defensive protocols unlocked. When the last Void Hunter fell, silence returned. Kari Lith looked at Eli, sweat on his brow, eyes glowing faint gold. You're not the boy I gave a tour to. Eli managed a breathless smile. Yeah, well, you started it. The heir and the hollow crown. The celestial beacon floated like a shattered crown in orbit above Varellus Prime, half buried in forgotten satellites and debris. It had once served as a control hub, the final failsafe built by the Alliance of Ten to coordinate the shutdown of the rogue sentient swarm. Now, only the living forge could access its core, and Eli Calder was the only one wearing it. Karilith's skimmer pushed through the outer ring of magnetic defenses, the armor shielding them from detection. Eli stood at the prow, silent, his eyes locked on the spire of light ahead. Each second ticked closer to the swarm's reawakening. The suit's voice echoed inside his mind like a countdown. Final emergence in 3.1 hours. Critical intervention required. Karilith glanced over her shoulder. "You sure you're ready for this?" Eli gave a small nod, adjusting the gauntlets. "Nope, but I don't think that matters." They docked against a sealed entry port, overridden by the armor's authority. The beacon's corridors were eerie, dead lights flickering, ancient consoles still humming with silent code. Every step awakened ghostly echoes from a war that history had buried. At the heart of the beacon, a pulsing crystalline terminal waited, fragments of the sentient core locked in stasis. As Eli approached, the armor flared with full brilliance. Holographic glyphs spun around him. The armor's AI prompted, "Initiate neural merge for command transfer." Warning: mental sync will expose bearer to core memory and legacy trauma. "Sounds fun," Eli muttered, then stepped forward. The beacon surged to life. Suddenly, he was Mycor Vallis. He stood on a burning battlefield, his armor cracked, blood on his hands. Swarms of living machines fell from the sky like locusts, devouring entire cities. He felt Mycor's final stand, alone, wounded, standing in front of the beacon as the others fell. He had overridden the core manually, sacrificing his life to lock the swarm into dormancy. Eli gasped, stumbling. The weight of that memory pressed down on him like a star collapsing. But the armor steadied him. "This burden is not yours alone. You are the evolution." He placed his hand on the crystalline terminal. Data surged. Protocols long forgotten woke. A signal pulsed from the beacon, a coded command only the living forge could send. Across the stars, hidden swarm nodes, long buried and forgotten, froze mid-reboot. Dormant AI nests flickered and went dark. The galaxy shifted. Eli collapsed to one knee. Karilith caught him. "You did it." He looked up, dazed. "I think I just told an ancient death machine to go back to sleep." Before either could celebrate, an alarm flared. The beacon's perimeter had been breached. Karilith checked the console. "Imperial flagship. The Emperor himself is here." Eli stood slowly. "Of course he is." Moments later, a golden hovercraft docked outside the command hall. The Zalari Emperor, a towering figure robed in light-woven silk, entered surrounded by elite guards. Karilith stood between them and Eli. "My lord," she said evenly, "stand down. You just saved your empire." The Emperor's voice was soft, cold. He awakened forbidden relics, took sacred power, threatened galactic stability. The swarm's delay does not excuse treason. Eli stepped forward. "I didn't steal anything. The armor chose. I just said yes." "You are human," the Emperor snapped. "You are chaos wrapped in skin." "Exactly," Eli said. "And maybe that's what the Forge needs. Not a bloodline. A choice." The Emperor raised his hand, ready to command Eli's execution. But the armor reacted. A golden energy field bloomed around Eli, and a voice, not his own, spoke through him, layered in ancient tones. "The living forge recognizes the bearer. Attempt to harm the heir will revoke sovereign protocol." The Emperor hesitated. Then, slowly, he lowered his hand. "The council will protest," he said bitterly. "Your existence rewrites everything." Karilith stepped beside Eli. "Then it's time something got rewritten." Later, as they flew back to Varellus in silence, Eli looked down at the planet, glowing like a gem in the dark. "I don't think I can go home." Karilith smirked. "You are home, whether the nobles like it or not." He turned to her. "You know this all started because you dared me to wear something ridiculous. She laughed softly. Next time I dare you, remind me of this day. The armor pulsed warmly across his chest. The swarm was dormant. The stars were quiet for now, and in the dark, the galaxy watched as something new began to rise.